Since my school years, I was crazy in love with the girl sitting in front of me in class. Though we didn't talk much after school, and our conversations were strictly school related, I got to know her better after we moved in college. I wanted to spend most of my time with her because she made me feel free and fulfilled, and I was kind of depressed in that period. And so she meant the world to me. We were so damn close to each other, and I thought I could care for her my entire freaking life. Teenage, normal shit, and drama, you can say. Since we were so close, along the way I discovered she was making out with a foreign student, a Romanian dude. I hated his guts and couldn't understand why she fell for this guy. She was always in a hurry when I tried to reach her. She wasn't the girl I once knew, and it pissed me off. They posted almost daily pictures of them together. The whole situation made me sick. Once she invited me to hang out with them. I felt so angry during all of that, but kept my composure in front of him. I couldn't sleep, was missing school, and it got worse each day. I didn't do much with my time except thinking of her. After 4 months, I got a call from her inviting me to a party. I was sitting in a quiet corner while they were laughing over something, but it felt like they were laughing at me. And I have to admit, that was the only time I got mad at her too. I don't really care how you see it or what you think of me, but all I saw was this ignorant scum trying to ruin my life and take the girl I was in love with. So what could I do but leave, hoping they will not notice me? But they did. She asked me if everything was alright, and I nodded. My hand was reaching out for the door when the bastard put his hand on my shoulder and said in bad English, "Hey, in a few days it's my birthday. I would be happy if you would come too." Like, what the fuck? Since when? He gave me his phone number. Well, I tried to put up a smile and be polite, then leave. The next day, he was at my college. With her, of course. I tagged along with them until she left home, and I was alone with him. He started to talk to me while we were waiting for the bus. I didn't pay any attention to what he was saying. I just wanted to go home. But as he was talking to me, my anger grew worse. In the corner of my eye, I saw a van coming by. I looked around, and we were the only ones on the street. I remember I didn't have a fucking thought at that moment. I pushed him over the sidewalk. He wasn't going to run into the van with just my push, but he slipped and got himself under the car. His head burst open on impact. In that spot, as I could hear a loud crack from his bones, I thought, I'm fucked now. But the driver ran off. I couldn't believe it. The adrenaline was pumping into me hard. I got to look at him for a sec. He was still alive, grunting heavily. I got the hell out of there as fast as I could, then started to walk normal when I saw people on the street. I was waiting fearfully at home, expecting the cops to come get me. It never happened. I commit myself for the next few days to go to school as normal and try to avoid being suspicious. After 2 days, I saw her coming to me crying, telling me his mother called to say he died in the car accident. She was so devastated, but I got her in my arms and hold her as tight as I could. Relieved from that moment onward, she and I really got close, and I just love her without any reservation or fear. Ironically, now as I think about it, it was the bastard's birthday. That exact day she told me the news. 12 years passed. Since then, we are together, engaged, though luck, filth. I lived alone. Moved out when I was 18. I moved far away. Maybe not far to some people's standards, but far for me. It was about a 4 hour drive, if I was lucky. If I wasn't, it can go about 2, 6, maybe 7 hours. One time, 8. And that's a story all in itself for another time. This one is on my way back after Christmas, a couple days. And I left later at the night, which I wound up regretted, but like I knew at the time, oh man, would have really left sooner. I had to drive through some mountain ranges. Not long, obviously. Really only about 2 out of the 4 hours. But it was dark. Not too many street lights out there as you would imagine. It was about an hour and a half into my drive. Hadn't seen a car in a long time. Ever since I left the city. But there were headlights coming up from behind me, which I thought was odd, because who else would be taking this path besides me? Honestly, didn't think too much of it, but still found it a bit weird. Anywho, it slowed down as it got closer. I think he wanted me to poke to the side so I had more room to pass. Because honestly, it's not like the roads are that wide. So I did. And it kept going slower. Well, maybe it was a cop that forgot to turn his lights on, and I went over the speed limit or something. Who knows? Until I got close enough, I could see what the car was. It was a Ford. I don't really know what model exactly. I'm not a big car guy or anything. Don't really know that much. I remember the license plate that I'm obviously not going to say here, but I don't think I'm ever going to forget that license plate for my entire life. It was up next to me, motions to me to roll down my window, and honestly, I have no goddamn idea why I did. I knew nothing good was going to come from this, but I did do it anyways, against my better judgment. Seemed to be a guy mid 40s, early 50s. Couldn't really tell. Looked older, but did have a kind of a baby face. It's hard to judge. Height, I'm not too sure, but I would guess around 5'8" to 6 feet. Body type was slim, but not too skinny. Obviously, the guy worked out a bit. I could see that. He had a weird scar on the right side of his face. It looked like one of those black blobs people would show you and ask, "What do you see?" My main guess is that it was a bird, but no idea. The inside of his car was nice and clean. I don't know why I remember that. Maybe because of how creepy he looked. When still looking completely normal. It was like I could see something, but couldn't actually see it. It's like I've seen his true nature instead of the mask he put on. He asked me if I had any spare gas in a jerry can, because he was running low and wasn't going to make it to another gas station before he ran out of gas. Surprisingly, I did actually have some. I had about 2 in the back of my car. I know, probably not the smartest idea, but I like to be prepared then. Have something happen and be screwed. So go to my drunk and he gets out of his car. He had something he was hiding. I didn't know what at the time. But something he was hiding and tucked into his shirt, probably in his pants. It wasn't until he got closer I could kind of see it was a gun. I pretended not to notice. I keep talking, because honestly, it's the United States. Who knows why he was carrying it? Just the vibe I got from this guy really rubbed me the wrong way. It wasn't until He reached over for the other jerry can when I was trying to dig out the one I had. I don't even know how he saw it. Like he had eagle eyes. Reached over for it. Behind me was basically just an excuse for him to get my arm around me. Well, behind my back. To wrap it around me and pull his gun. I don't know if you've ever had somebody pull a gun on you, but your main thing that you think isn't, oh, that weird self-defense move you saw online to disarm them or anything. It's fuck. You think this is it. You don't know what they're going to do. You don't know how long you have to change their mind. You put the gun on me, pointed it right to my stomach, pressed it against, pushing in. Honestly, it did kind of hurt. He demanded I give him my car and my money. And all I could think was I had to. There was no other way out of it. It's not like I could fight him. If I tried moving, if I wasn't okay or anything, I was shot. And I knew, even if the shot didn't kill me, I was gonna bleed out on the side of that road. So I applied. Or at least pretended to. He let go. So I took the jerry can out, so nothing will be too suspicious. If somebody drove by, so think it's me just helping out with a friend. Well, or a fellow human. If you can even call somebody like that. Human. I can't get over it. The aura this guy was giving off really wasn't good. Probably why I did what I did next. He let go. Took the jerry can out. When he was still searching through my trunk to see what else I had in there, took the opportunity to throw the jerry can at him as hard as I could to knock him farther into the trunk and slam the door on his back. He tried to get up and I slammed the door down again harder, hitting his head, knocking him out. I hopped in my car and drove. First slowly and heard him, and his unconscious body hit the road. And slowly went faster and faster. And as soon as I got out of those mountains, I took all the turns I could take in case if he woke up and started following me. And because of that, my drive was a lot longer than intended. Sadly, though, I weren't out of the woods yet. I was in the city. I stopped to get something to eat. And honestly, to calm down after what just happened about an hour beforehand. When I see him drive by the 7-Eleven I happened to be in, and all I could think while I was going through my mind was me wondering if he saw my car and was waiting farther down the road for me. I get out in 7-Eleven, walked to the street, to the sidewalk, and looked out both directions. Didn't see him anywhere. The guy was forward. Back into my car, started driving down, and unluckily, he was in one of the off streets, exactly where I couldn't see him. He pulled out and started following me. Tried to lose him. I just couldn't. And I knew for a fact I couldn't drive home with him on my tail. Because who knows what this guy was going to do to me after what I did to get away from him. I decided to do my best to try to lose him. But when nothing else worked, I got an idea of pulling into a house that had its lights on and hoping the person home answered the door. I pulled into some random person's driveway beside their car, hopped out, ran to the door as fast as I could, pushed past them, closed the door. After they opened it, they asked what the fuck I was doing, and I told them I needed them to calm down and call the police. And I was being followed. The look on their face was shock. But for how frantic and scared I was, they believed me. I thank God they did. Because honestly, I most likely would have been dead meat if they just tossed me back out. It wasn't too long before we saw his car parked across the street, waiting to see if I was going to come back out. The cops arrived about 45 minutes later. He heard the sirens in the distance before they got there and drove off. But luckily, he was smart enough to take some pictures. I talked to the cops for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. Told him everything that happened. Gave them his description and plate. I remember being too freaked out to hop back in my car. Luckily, one of the police officers offered to drive me home, even knowing it was still pretty far away. But it was my safest bet. I got home, got up, some friends of mine woke him up in the middle of the night. It's about 3 something in the morning. Had them come over and get any sleep that night. And I always wonder what would have happened to me If I went along in his car, what was I going to find?